Hi, I'm Shashi Agarwal, a senior product and program leader in financial services. In this video, I will talk about how I lead with influence without authority, how I move the cross-functional teams, peers, and stakeholders even when none of them report to me. I will share my mindset, the communication tactics I use, and a concrete example from my work. Next. As a product and program leader, we live with a paradox. We are fully accountable for outcomes, adoption, savings, regulatory success, but we don't manage engineering, design, data, or operation teams directly. That structure is normal in financial services. It means the real skill is influence, not title. So my focus is how do I get smart people with their own priorities and constraints who wants to move in the same direction? Next. So my leadership mindset has four simple parts. First, I own the outcome, not the org chart. I never say they didn't do it. I say we didn't get the result. What can we can do differently to unblock us? Second, I default to partnership, not control. I treat engineering leads, designers, and business stakeholders as equals. I am collaborating with not resources I'm assigning. Third, I try to be calm, clear, and consistent. In pressure situations, tight deadlines, production issues, regulatory pressure, people follow the person who is steady and precise. Finally, I always give credit and take responsibility when something goes well. I name the engineers, analysts, and ops people who made it happen. When something goes wrong, I step up to explain the path forward. That builds long term trust. Next. In practice, I build influence through context, relationships, clarity, and follow through. I invest in deep context. I know the user journey, the data, the constraint, and the regulatory angles. When people see that I understand the full picture, they are more willing to trust my judgment. I build a relationship deliberately, regular one-on-one with engineering leads, architects, key business stakeholders, even if it's just 20 minutes. I ask, what's hardest for you right now? How can I make this easier? And then I act on it. I am very clear on the why behind decisions. I don't just say we are doing X, I explain we are doing X because it reduces the risk, frees this capacity, or hits this metric. And I follow through. If I say I will clarify requirements, talk to another team, or get a decision from leadership, I actually do it. Over time, that reliability is what gives you real influence. Next. My communication style changes with the audience, but the structure is similar. I lead with problem and impact. Here is the problem we are seeing, and here is who it hurts, and here is the cost in time, money, and risk. Then I show options and trade offs. We could do A, B, or C. A is fastest but limited. B is balanced. C is big but delayed. Here is what each means for our metrics. Then I invite the inputs. Given your perspective, what are we missing? Which options makes the most sense to you? This shifts the conversation from Shashi's proposal to a joint decision where people feel ownership, but I still guide the structure and outcome. Next. So disagreement is normal. What matters is how you handle it. I always start by restating the shared goal. We all want to meet the regulatory date and avoid piling up the technical debt. Then I listen, really listen to each side. Engineering might be saying the design is risky. Business might be saying we can't cut this feature without hurting clients. I separate people from the problem. It's not engineering versus business. It's we have more scope than time. And how do we reduce the risk while preserving value? Then I co-create next steps, a smaller first release, an agreed technical compromise, or a clear decision on what we will delay. People are much more willing to support a plan they have helped shape it. Next. Let me give you a concrete example. On one program, I had fixed regulatory deadline, a long list of business requests, and an engineering team rightly worried about performance and tech debt. None of these teams reported to me. Instead of pushing my own solution, I did three things. First, I reframed everything around one outcome. Be live and compliant by this date without breaking existing workflow. Second, I brought data, a simple view of which features directly tied to the regulation and which were nice to have. We color-coded theme together in a workshop. Third, I facilitate the conversation. I asked engineering, what's the risk if we include all of this? I asked the business, if we had to cut 30%, what would you keep to still serve the clients? By the end, they had jointly agreed on a reduced realistic scope for the first release and a clear follow-up plan. Nothing about my title changed that day. What changed was that both sides saw me as someone who could listen, structure the discussion, and lead us to a decision. Next. To close, here is how I think about leadership and influence without authority. Influence comes from trust, clarity, and consistency, not from where you sit in the org chart. I always explain the why, tailor to the message to the audience, and make trade-offs visible. I invite people into the problem, but I still own the outcome and the path forward. That's how I lead cross-functional teams in complex financial services environment. If you would like to see how I connect this to strategy, execution, or AI-driven products, check my other videos and feel free to connect with me. Thanks for watching.